Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you're new to this channel, or you have not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support this channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they're live, but there's also a PayPal link in the info box below the video once it's rendered. But most importantly, if you would like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the shape of the Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show. Sharing the show increases the live audience, of course, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now we are joined by Sean, Sleeping Warrior, Rune Thornton, Relly, James, Goldemo, GCSE and A-Level, Chris, and Block for Block. How are you all doing?
I'm alright.
Yo. Doing fine,
Good.
thanks.
Hey, listen, Nathan, in the hangout, in the interval, two things happened. One, Gio requested that he was allowed to finish his sentence, and I agree. I think Gio should be allowed to finish his sentence, and then you can attack him. So let Gio finish. But alternatively, Block for Block's joined, and he's managed to model up the turbines that we were asking him to deal with. And once we've, if we can get to a conclusion on this first point, let's get the presentation from Block, and we'll tell him what we want from him, because he's modelled all the turbines up to 40 miles or something. So we can delete off the ones that we don't want and focus on the ones that we do want, and he can manipulate it any way we want.
Right,
So,
I'll just jump in there. I've modelled the turbines, but they're only going over 20 miles, but the section of curvature is 40 miles. So we can work around on the model.
We can get it. I'm sure we'll be able to get it. Don't worry about that for the minute.
But
Gio,
hi everyone, I'm Block for Block.
Gio, you wanted time to finish your point without interruption.
Yes, please. So yeah, again, doesn't matter. I don't have a problem with the angle. I'm not saying that you're using the wrong calculation because of the angle of these things. I'm saying that you're describing them as the distance between them being 2 miles or however many miles they are apart, when it doesn't matter which angle or how far apart these two rows are. The distance between each of them still would be 1/3 of a mile. Okay. And so it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how far away they are, and that adding to the curve calculator, in reference to one another, there's still only about 2.66 inches of curvature between them. And so when you draw a line from 1 to 2 to 8 of them, that line from any distance is not going to appear as a curve, especially if they're 1/3 of a mile apart and the only change is 2.5 inches or whatever it is. It's not.
Do you not? Sorry, go on.
No, I'll address what you're saying. I do understand what you're saying about the curve dropping even further as it goes further away, but that doesn't change in reference to one another. In that reference to each of those, what do you call it, turbines, they're not going to be. They're not. It's not going to be like it's going to go further down than the one in front of it.
That's not what the calculator says, though. So why does the calculator say otherwise?
Yeah, and also, like I said, they're in a straight line.
Hang on. Answer Nathan's question. You asked for uninterrupted time. You got it. He's now asked you a question. Answer that question.
Yeah, he's saying that the calculator says that if they were in a straight line facing in front of you, then the drop will be even further.
No, it doesn't say anything about being in a straight line in front of you. The calculator ignores viewing angles. I kept saying this to you. You have now moaned and played the victim because I interrupted you, and now you're doing it again. The calculator only asks you for how far out you're looking and how high you are.
Yes.
Right, so the viewing angle's irrelevant, and the calculator says there should be a curve that isn't there. So are you saying the calculator's wrong?
No, I'm saying the way you're describing it is wrong.
We're describing it
as if
hold on. You're telling me that you're telling me how I'm describing it. So don't do that. We're describing what the calculator says. This isn't our description. We just look at a picture. Your model is what we are telling you should be happening. You're saying otherwise. Are you saying that the calculator is wrong?
I'm saying that you're not measuring it a third of a mile apart from one another if you're describing it that way now.
Sorry,
Because
we're just doing
they're not
what
in
the
the same.
calculator... Sorry, we are not changing our viewing distance because we're not seeing it from a third of a mile away. So that isn't given in the calculator to view it from a different distance that you're not actually looking at it. That's not possible. So we can only view it from where we view it from, which is 20 miles away. Do you agree?
I do agree. I also don't agree those lines are going straight forward. They're actually going sideways if you haven't noticed.
Sorry.
Right? Or am I
Regardless
wrong?
of whether or not they are curving to the left and right as well, they should, in
And
fact...
should they be?
Why are you interrupting me?
Because you interrupted me. I didn't get to finish talking, but okay.
Right, so I'll assume you finished talking.
No, I just was correcting you, so I have nothing else to say about that other than the fact that they are going left to right, more or less. And so, no, you're not going to see what you're describing. You're describing as it
Not
goes.
what I'm describing. The calculator describes them as having an increasing amount of drop applied because of the distance. Are you disagreeing with that? Yes.
I'm disagreeing in the distance. The distance is not changing that drastically, going that direction. It's changing sideways, left and right, isn't it?
It's going further into the distance.
The rows are the first row and the second row, and the angles is changing. So apparently, it's a little bit further, but more or less they're side by side.
No, they're
As in
not. We're
left
looking
to
down
right
the line of them.
from
They're not side by side. They're going further into the distance. We're looking along the length of them. They appear to be side by side, but I assure you the blades aren't going to smash into each other. They're not next to each other. They're further and further into the distance, in line with linear perspective. And according to the calculator, there should be noticeable curvature that you say, because of a viewing angle, something the calculator doesn't account for, we shouldn't see curvature, even though the mathematics and model say we should. So why are you disagreeing with what the model says?
I'm not disagreeing with what the model says.
You are. The model says we should see curve. You're saying we shouldn't see curve. Those two things are in polar opposition to each other.
Nathan, I'm disagreeing with the picture. You're describing the picture as it's going like there.
Can't disagree with a picture. It's just a picture. Yeah. Don't tell me the picture's wrong. It's just a picture. We are comparing the picture to a model that says it should curve. You're saying, no, the way you're describing it is wrong. Well, we're not. We're describing that the mathematics say it's curving, and it isn't. We still haven't got an answer to why that is. We're being told that the mathematics are wrong as far as I can ascertain, because you're disagreeing with them.
Because they're more left and right than they are straightforward.
Where does it say that we should
absolutely the
account for
case.
that in the calculation? Show me that in the calculation where we should be accounting for that.
Well, in the calculation, you'd have to first decide or determine what the angle was.
No,
that you're seeing that
you don't.
You're seeing these things.
No, you don't. No, it doesn't account for viewing angle.
Yeah.
It
Otherwise, you
accounts for
don't know how far apart,
Sorry,
distance to go.
you seem to be disagreeing with me. Show me where it accounts for viewing angle in the calculator, please.
Yeah, like I said, you're gonna have to do more calculations.
Show me where it accounts for the viewing angle, please.
It doesn't account for that angle.
Right! So shut your stupid mouth, you complete buffoon! Stop talking about something that is absolutely unaccounted for in your begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective omitting calculations. It will make no difference to the maths if we view it from a different angle. The maths say it should curve. It does not. Why?
You know what makes the biggest difference here is the very front pole and the very back pole in each row. In the first row, what's the distance between that in that direction? Now, if you don't know that, then
We do know that. We have calculated it out on the calculator, and there should be a curve.
Nathan, that's what I'm telling to you.
You're telling to me what? What are you telling to me? I'm not asking you anything. What are you telling to me?
Those 8 poles, the 8 turbines that are in front, what's the distance from the first one to the last one in that direction? The direction that's going, that you're measuring straight in front of you. Not the distance between them from left to right, but from the closest to the furthest distance from you. Without knowing this, you can't determine that curve that you're talking about.
The first one is 12.35 miles to 14.5 miles front to back. The second is now spaced 0.333 miles apart. And damn you, Ranty, Alan giving me this message. Hold on, I'll look it up on his video.
I can already tell you the issue there. It seems, yeah, it seems that from front to back, the amount of curvature is about 20 feet. Okay, split between 8 of these poles. We could say they're, what is that, 2.6 feet for each one, so a similar calculation. But I think the issue is that they're not as far away as we originally thought they were, unless the numbers you just gave me are incorrect.
I think I've got him on Ranty's video, so...
Hang on a sec. When you said they're not as far away as originally thought, are you referring to the 20 and 22 miles?
Right, because I thought I just heard him say 12 and 14.
Yeah, for the first row.
Front to back of the first one.
Right, but the second row goes up to 20 miles.
Sure. That's, I guess
21 miles.
That's fine, but it still changes the calculations.
Well, what you actually have in the calculations when you increase the distance is the curvature that's already in place, because that doesn't suddenly flatten out like you're right next to them at a third of a mile with them spaced third of a mile apart. You've already got that curve between you and the thing you're looking at. So then when they start curving beyond that curve you've already got, you have an increase of curvature. What the math says we should see. Now you're saying we shouldn't see that, and I'm still confused as to why you think we shouldn't.
Well, like I said, in this case, the first row, if that's about 20 feet difference, is about 30 feet of curvature.
You're just telling me what the difference is based on us standing next to them now, aren't you?
No, I'm just telling you what you would see in the line, and the curvature of the line.
And how far away how far away is the first one based on the mathematics? Are you standing right next to it and calculating how much curve there is with us stood next to it, or are we viewing it from 20 miles?
No. From 20 miles away, I'm just describing the kink in that line. Each line there will be a slight kink, but that kink is not going to be noticeable, which is going to make it appear like a straight line. If they're about a third of a mile apart, and there's only about 2 feet of difference for it to account for, it's not going to be something that you're going to pick up on.
Okay, do you want to grab a pen? You got a pen handy?
Sure.
Okay, I'll rattle these off for you. So we got D1, 112,830 feet to target, giving you a feet hidden value of 168.43. D2, 114,573 feet to target, giving you a hidden value of 175.5 feet. D3, 116,316 feet to target, equals 182.71 feet hidden. D4, 118,059 feet to target, 190.07 feet hidden. D5, 119,802 feet to target, 197.58 feet hidden. D9, 121,545 feet to target, equals 205.23 feet hidden. D7, 123,288 feet to target, 213 feet hidden. And D8, 125.025 feet to target, 125,025 feet to target, 220.94 feet hidden.
And what height did you put this observer at? Because the picture doesn't look like he's at the ocean level.
He's 20 feet. Let's just double check. 20 feet, yes.
And is the second row or the first row? Because the first row I got something completely different.
That's the second row. I'll read his description. They are in a straight line, 0.33 miles apart, all at the same height. As I look down the line, almost right between D1 having the largest target on the far right. There you go.
And that's what I don't... Okay, I'm sorry. The numbers that you gave was the distance from you to the last one, or from the distance apart? Because I forgot what you. The two numbers.
I must have said distance to target. How many did I say? 8. I said it 8 times.
Yeah, can you give me just number 7 and number 8 one more time?
Sure. 123,228 feet to target.
Hold on. Sorry. Okay, there we go. Okay, so go ahead.
123,288 feet to target. D7. Gives you 213.03 feet hidden. And then 125,025 feet to target for D8. 220.94 feet hidden.
Okay.
So according to Ranty, I've just read out some of the last little bit of his perspective makes D8 smaller than D1. If you run a line through the exact centre of the hubs, they all line up. Then consistent with angular size change over distance, without any help of curve. If you put them through, if they had a curve, this would be consistent with curvature, angular size change and distance. Something which they ignore, which you do. So none of the angular size reduction or the viewing angle is accounted for whatsoever in any of your measurements. So all of those numbers that Ranty has detailed on his video are perspective exclusive. None of them account for any angular size reduction. So while that's being done, we've got block for block on at the moment. How are you doing, block for block? Are you ready to pop your screen up for sharing?
I can do, yep. I'll
Excellent.
Just pull that program back up. It's on. It's up now. I've got to do it myself on it. Sorry, and that's share screen. Come on, share. Can you see the model on my screen now? On your screen?
Excellent. Tell us what we're looking at.
What we're looking at is a distance of roughly the 20 miles away, and we're looking at roughly 9 pylons in a row. I had the whole lot of them here, like you can see now, and I've just narrowed them down, as Sleeping Warrior was saying, to roughly the 20-mile distance. And we can see here, I've got like a big screen for me, it's nice, and I can see a slight curve, but in theory it could look straight, but it's still curving, and this is proof of curving. And even on a photograph you would fall out of line here. Perspective, it's clearly a curve. If we just backtrack this, here are all of the pylons which we can examine in intricate detail, and quite clearly see that these are mimicking the surface of the curving Earth. This Earth, since we have a lot of globers in your chat, Nathan, they can all bring curve calculations to test this model in its absolutely 100% accuracy of conforming with all curvature over 40 miles. And I'll just take that back to there, redo that.
Well, just for the sake of this discussion then, block for block, can you find an angle where you can get them to not curve?
No.
Sorry, did you hear that, Goldemo? Maybe you can tell him where he's looking wrong. Tell him which angle he needs.
That's incorrect. You can be facing it 90 degrees and it's not going to curve.
I'm sorry. Maybe you have misheard me. In your calculator, the one we are comparing to, you never, ever, ever have a level transit of 90 degrees to your target.
The red line, I don't know if you can see it, but this is acting as a theodolite, a straight level line of sight. And here we can see that it actually traces a path up the pylons. And this is from a side view. I could estimate that I'm about 10 miles away. Now I'm possibly 15, 20 miles away from these towers, and we can see there that red line is level. This tower is clearly, its blade is tipping the horizon. The flat earth horizon, this is what it would be. Things would remain level. Now the end tower is clearly underneath the theodolite line. It is clearly dipping because we know this is a genuine curving surface of Earth. If the Globers can all come forward with the calculations over 40 miles, then we can prove this beyond doubt now that this is a genuine curving surface of Earth, and under no circumstances ever will a straight line ever line up. Now I will just demonstrate this in a raw fashion here by touching the bottom back right end here, this of the tower, and I will drag this line. Sorry, I'm not on the end one. I will just go to this one, and I will go on the bottom right corner of the back of the tower. And then I will come down here and we will measure the heights of the towers, don't worry. And I will come to the bottom right back corner here. And what we would expect in Ranty's photo is that it is perfectly level. Now here, we can see that there's a line that is not lining up. And if we pull all of the towers into focus, we can see that it still lines up with the first. A straight line cannot be drawn. Meaning if we had a better camera to zoom in closer, then this is what should be seen. Now, it is slight because we are 150 meters slightly higher up, and you're having
slight because it's 8 inches.
Sorry?
It's slight because it's 8 inches over 2 miles.
Yeah, that is that as well. I could make a point if we could see the horizon, but it is slight, yeah, but it's actually there. But what isn't there is on the other photo, if I had two sets of pylons, like...
Can I just ask? Can I just ask? And this isn't an attack on you, because obviously I don't know too much about you, and I know that you've only spoken the last day or two. But on the curve calculator, it says that between the 20th mile and the 21st mile, it's something like 22 feet of drop. Can you measure the drop between the two, between 20 miles and 20? Let me just give you the figure, because I've got a sneaky feeling that yours isn't going to match the curve calculator.
Hey, Anthony, can you bring up sound?
Right, yeah, you can do that. Taken from 0, are you taking it? You can take it from any height, and this should prove the Earth curve calculator correct from any height.
So what's the distance have you got between 20 and 21 miles?
To the edge, I will measure it now in feet, and we can find out. It's in feet, this measurement, and it's roughly 20 miles radius. So
I just want two values. I just want two values that I can put into the metabunk and compare and contrast, because it should be the case that your model should.
If this is just under 20 though, then you can take it 19. We can use an exact value. I'll just measure it now though. Tip to the edge.
And this is measured in feet, yeah?
Yes, this is in feet, and it's 106,000 feet. It's actually 20 miles. It's 40. Yeah, that's 20 miles. So it's a 40 mile.
So if we do an observer height of say 3 feet for a tripod on the beach,
3 feet, yep.
There should be 179 feet of refracted hidden at 20 miles, but we're looking for the difference between 20 and 21 miles.
So 3 feet.
Hang on. So we've got 179 at 20, and at 117. So it's 200 at 21. So we're looking for 21 feet of curve from the 20th mile to the 21st mile. Can you confirm that there's 21 feet between the two, that 20 miles and 21 miles?
Well, whatever this showing is been confirming all calculations so far, so I should be able to. Just putting this red line here to trace the camera on the red axis, so it follows it down this line of sight. That's a 3 foot.
It's hot.
So at 3 foot, what distance are we looking? What distance are you putting in the curve calculator, and are you getting? And
The value you gave me for 20 miles, which was it 106,000? I think you said.
yeah,
So yeah, so get out to 100, get out to 20 miles, and that's our start point. It should be 179 feet of refracted hidden according to the what is it, Nath?
You've got to give him
179 feet.
geometric. You can't give him refractive values. Just give him geometric.
Geometric. Yeah. All right, hidden. So it should be then 213 at 20 miles.
213 at 20 miles. Right, is 106 what I said was at 20 miles? Because here I am, I've drawn a straight line, and all I'm going to do is 120 feet.
Yeah, it was 106,000 feet. And we're looking for, well, we want to know, do you get...
I've got a drop at 20 miles from 3 feet to 274.
Well, we according to the Metabunk curve calculator...
Did you listen? Hold on, before you've got miscommunication. He's measuring drop. So forget refracted hidden and refracted or hidden. Just go for drop, because that's what he's got on his measurement now. He's giving you the drop value.
The drop on... I will...
Hold on 1 second. What's the drop value, Anthony?
Can I just interject and say how I would test this? Put your 3 feet value in there and then type this value in once I give it you in about 2 seconds into the curve calculator. The height at 3 feet. This is a theodolite line that I'm dragging now. And you enter the height at 3 feet and then enter the distance at exactly 10,600 and 106,000, sorry, 106,524 feet.
Getting this, Anthony. You're on mute at the minute.
Sorry, I was on the phone. I've just missed the last minute.
If you set on the curve calculator 3 foot viewing distance, 3 foot viewing height, and then 106,524 for the feet.
Oh, so I need to convert that. Hang on.
Yeah.
106,504.
524.
106,524 gives me 20.17. 20.17 miles should give you a hidden of 217.
217.
That's what it's saying.
Drop.
Yeah.
Oh, drop. 271 drop.
271. I have it at 274. So I'm roughly 3 feet.
Yeah, that might be a percent. That might be because when I've converted feet to thingy.
Yeah, I haven't given you the point yet. That's a good point. I'll measure that so we can get this exact.
So it's 21.75. Sorry.
I've fucking forgotten. Sorry.
106,524 works out at 20.175. So let me put that extra half. It's 175.
I forgot the number.
That then makes the drop 271.4.
Right. Again, I'm just going to drag it there because I'm out 3 foot. I'm going to drag it all the way to the end. This is like just a theodolite dragging it to the end. And again, it's I don't know like how to read off the numbers at the end. If it's got 106,524, and then I don't know if it could be 0.10 with that. Like, if you can see on my screen, I don't know.
Yeah, so that makes it 20.175. So 20.175 at a viewer height of 3 feet. Well, actually, the viewer height of 3 feet. You need to put the viewer height of 3 feet back down to the ground if we're going to be using drop.
What's happening there? Put the viewer height back to the ground. Okay.
Yeah, do you?
If we're using drop, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I know what you mean. Like you're taking the surface of the Earth, eliminate the viewer.
Because Nathan said we're going to do it geometrically rather than from the observer.
Yeah, fair enough. Yes, if you start from the...
Get rid of that line and that line, right? Okay, here is a line taken from axis, from the very center, people. The very, very ground zero.
That's the center of a nuclear detonation, isn't it? The definition of ground zero.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going from viewer point out 20 miles.
Dragging it straight to the edge here. It's just a theodolite line, a red axis, and It has an exact value again. The same distance, obviously, is 106,000 feet, 524.
Yeah. So,
And the calculated drop is 271.
yeah, 271. Right.
Yeah.
So
Sorry,
let's
just
now
hold on, Anthony. Just put your maths on screen.
Put my maths on screen.
Yeah, just share your screen. Now we've validated the calculator. I don't want someone to say, "Ah, no, that maths is wrong." Just don't want assholes in the comments. I just want it on screen for a second, just to show. There you go.
Let's just try and turn these double shadows off. I've got double shadows on them.
Hold on,
So
you've got the viewer height
all
of
I
3
did
feet.
was-
Anthony, you had the viewer height at 3 feet, though.
Pardon?
You had the viewer height at 3 feet.
It doesn't matter for the drop.
I'll just show that.
It doesn't matter whether you put
I
1
know,
foot,
but
3
just
foot,
show it
5
anyway.
foot.
It
Yeah.
won't let you. Okay.
So
Fine. I get your reasoning. You've put it out there. That's fine. Let's move on.
right. So now what we need to do is, well, we need to see the drop for. Hang on. Do we need to see? Yeah, we need to see what the difference in the drop is for the next mile. So let's change the miles. So put in 21 miles.
No,
So move your feetage out to 110,000 feet, 880.
Can't. That's the edge of his rendering.
You want a distance of 21 miles now?
Aye.
Yeah. So I'll go this side now because I will actually be elevate. I'm gonna track on. That's 20 miles that way. We know that. We've all just worked it out. So I'm gonna draw this line here, 5,280 feet, which is 1 mile, and that's on the red direction. And it brings me. My model's just freezing a bit. Here. This is my viewer point of 1 mile added to 20. That's 21 miles. I'm sure everyone in the chat can agree.
Yeah, I'm happy with that.
This is 1 mile, 21 mile away.
Now what we want to know is the difference between the drop of the two values at 20 and 21 miles. So you had the drop value at 20 and you had the drop value at 21. So the drop value is 271 at 20 miles. And it should end up being around about 294-ish.
I've just realised what you're meaning there. This is an actual steeper curve than the whole straight of this. I would actually have to fully include the entire 21 from this point here.
Yeah, bummer. It's the end of his rendering. Can't you just use the last poll back and the one before it?
I can't actually do that. I could I'd be making it up. I kind of come back here.
The problem is Milo and friends won't accept it if it's unless it's an exact match.
No, okay.
The principle is there should be curve there, but because the numbers won't then match, they will reject it because the numbers don't match, even though the principle is there.
Let's fucking I'd say sorry for swearing. Let's abandon their point and let's use these towers now that I have to prove that the curvature at 10 miles will also match the drop, and that once I go side view here from 10 miles to 20 miles there is most certainly a bend to be seen. Now this could be a city block, this could be a high-rise road or anything. The bend, this is definitely telling the globers that the physicality of a big structure extending out to sea will curve.
I tell you what, let's just take the last 6 turbines.
Yeah, I was
on
going to say,
picture.
Hold on, Anthony. Let's just start deleting them then. You could start removing them. So
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
get rid
7,
of all
8.
of them.
He's got 8 turbines on show.
So 8 turbines from the end, from the 20 mile. I will delete all the others.
Yes,
yeah,
please.
well, keep the last 8.
Yes.
No, keep them there.
3, 4,
keep them there.
5, 6, 7, 8, and we'll keep 9 just in case, and I'll start from here.
You'll confuse them if you put one more in. Get rid of that 9.
We'll get rid of that one more, yeah.
Hold on, but we've got one less. Shouldn't it be 7? Because Ranty's got 8, hasn't he?
Yeah, we'll get rid of that last. Yeah, you're right. Get rid of that absolute last one as well.
So there's 2
that one, yeah.
So
yeah,
in total, we need 7 because the rendering just doesn't go to 21 miles, but that doesn't matter.
No, it's clutching at straws.
Don't dwell on it.
That's what they need to go to.
Not a problem.
And then all you got to do is show that there's a curve in the last turbines.
Again, I'd assert the curve will be difficult to see, but it doesn't
Correct.
matter about... The only point they would have then, Globers, is that the camera's not good enough. Because
No,
I can assert...
Hang on. What we're
Have a
trying to
look at
do
it
is
first.
compare the model, the sphere, against what it says on Metabunk. So if it looks flat in the real world, but Metabunk's saying that there's 47 feet of curvature, then we have a problem, don't we? Because it means that we can't tell 47 feet of curve when we zoom in.
There you go. If you can take it out
Anthony,
to the
I've
right,
tried to
to
explain
the
this to you
left more.
before.
Not yet. Wait.
All right.
Here we can...
A tangent line
Right.
at 90 degrees if you can from the observer, and just create a dead straight line, like 90 degrees perpendicular.
Hold on, but we're looking right down the line of them, so we won't see for the hubs. We need to go out to the right or left a little bit, like in Ranty's image.
No, we can't do that. He said he wouldn't accept it because we weren't right behind.
I'll accept it.
Right, so Rubef will accept it.
Yeah. It's not too far, but yeah. Go so you can see the hubs.
You might be better off going the other side because of the blades.
Yeah,
go
left.
Turn you up.
Go left because of the blades, yeah.
What account are you on, Ruhif? I need to turn you up.
Gmail account.
What's it called?
Len.
Got it.
At gmail.com. I haven't used it in like 10 years.
There's the same problem. You're asking me to move across, right? Because it's not actually the 20 miles. I can fix it now, though. I'm going to just make these towers go all the way around this globe for now, and this will fix the problem. So we can just angle the view, and I'll just show you. It's if I pull myself away from the center point, it is going to sort of be altering the model. So I'm going to just rotate these around the center point so there's lots of them that we can see from any angle and judge from this center point. It's just so that you know that when I've moved left, that because I'm not going to be using, you want to see at the sides, I'll just do it anyway.
Right, you've only got one top dead center point. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, as in without...
I get it.
Yeah. Times 10. Right, ready.
Cool.
Now we can look at more towers on the horizon once I line my eye up.
What program is this, by the way?
SketchUp. There, we can see as I turn my eye around, those that are offset from straight in front of me are appearing at different angles. So we've got like a few testers.
So
I'm the same distance away. I'm in the center. I wasn't in the center there, sorry. I'll put myself in the center.
Yeah, you just want to try and get you to the point where we're looking down the turbines.
Just off center, I know what you mean. Just off center, but I don't want to drag myself away to where I'm literally flying over a curve and I have a higher viewer height, if you know what I mean. If I move here now, I'm rising in the air, like the plane theory.
Right.
And this is why I'm thinking, and what I'd like to use this model is...
Could you not go the other side of the turbine blades?
Can't you just move the turbines? Just offset the turbines.
There we go.
I can.
Do that.
Right. So we can see there that there's a curve, right?
I'd assert that you can, but it almost looks straight, and you could convince anybody that it is straight.
Thank you.
That doesn't mean anything, though, because that is an isolated set. If you had a brick wall built there, then you would see the curve, and the curve would be apparent from one end of the brick wall to the other. And over 20 miles, it would look like the Sydney Harbour Bridge.
So then, you may not have done this yet, but my question is, how does that look on a flat plane?
It perfectly lines up level, perfectly level. Everything lines up straight to the vanishing point.
So is there an obvious difference between the two?
A very obvious difference between the two. I can't put all the many panels on here because I've just deleted them, but I could open this model again to where it resets.
So hang on. So with regards to Ranty's picture, which model does Ranty's picture support? Does Ranty
flat Earth most definitely, and that's you brought the point up yourself. Sleeping Warrior. The picture is only providing information of straightness.
Yeah.
Now, I have a
You
point.
just said that this row of turbines could be considered straight.
Yes.
By anyone.
But I'm coming now from the assumption of looking at many more pictures than just these turbines, and I can assure you that if you imagine this turbine as a wall, and now you want to draw a straight line on that wall, well, that wall is most certainly curving exactly like a contrail in the air should also curve.
Oh, dear.
It is a
Oh, you said
physical.
contrail. Nice one.
Well, hold on. There's a few more things we can do. So, can you now put in turbines that are at 10 to 14 miles on this curved surface?
Yes.
Right, because then we can.
I'll just reset this model.
Then we can see the difference between the two sets.
Do you want to explain where you guys are going wrong? Like, it'll take 2 minutes.
Oh, hang on, it appears that we're not going wrong.
I'll just make a point here. What we are looking at here, right, is a straight wall going out to sea. It's a straight.
Correct. And you see curvature, yes.
Post. Yes. Now, where don't we see this happening? In reality, we only capture it on soundlies with a wall of atmosphere.
Yeah, and Anthony, do you remember Sly asking you whether it was a 13-mile long row of turbines? Do you remember that?
No. He asked me whether
Well, he
what was
did.
the third.
You kept
Oh, you
asking
mean
him to draw
Well, hang on.
13 miles of turbines.
We're still not there, so we need a comparison between two rows. Because so far we've got two straight lines, even though one is further around the curve than the other. So
yes,
we have got.
And so you should.
Well, hold on.
They are
so we have got
2-mile sections of
hold on,
turbine.
Ruth, I haven't got to the end of my point. So if he deletes the ones that are in between us and 10 to 13 miles or whatever the distance is, and then leaves the ones at 20 miles, we then have something that we can compare. The ones that are close with less curve and the ones further away with more curve.
Just to make a point,
stretches of 2 miles.
To the guy that's talking, just to make a point, here I've just dragged a straight line from that bottom corner to roughly 2/3, and we can see here the amount of curvature. Now, if I drag that straight line to there, that's going to accentuate. Now, we don't find this anywhere other than on Sly images of Soundly that are
sorry,
a
block
wall
for
of
block.
atmosphere.
I'm really sorry to interrupt. I really want you to actually make this point with what we've got, though. So can you delete them so we only have two rows, one that runs 10 to 13 and one that runs 20 to the end, or whatever we've got? So that
10 to 13, yep, I'll do now.
Because then what I've tried to show this morning is there should be a comparative change in angle between them, because one is further around the curve than the other. But they have the same
in the model, and there is in Ranty's photo.
Well, we shall see. The model we haven't seen yet, so that's what I'm asking him to do, Ruhif.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to go to, is it 50,000 feet for roughly 10 miles? So you want 10 to 13 miles.
Yeah, what is it, 52,800 or something?
I'll go
52,800.
52,000. I will delete all of these towers here. So that's the starting point of 10 miles, and then we'll be there in a second now, yeah. 10 to 13.
Then you want to delete up to about, 62, 63,000.
3 miles.
Sorry, you want to keep.
15,
sorry,
16,
you want to keep up
feet.
to about 63,000.
I'll just go to the 16,000 feet for these 3 miles. This is 10 to 13 miles of wind farms.
So those are the ones you want to keep, right?
Yes.
Excellent.
These are the ones we'll keep. 16,000 to there. I'll delete that line and delete this pylon just to tell me. And we want to go how many? That's 10 to 13.
So you've kept the ones that are 10 to 13. Now delete the ones in between, so the ones up until the last 7.
Up until the last 7, and that should be right, roughly,
yes. Yep. And then we should only have those 2 rows, so anything that's in the foreground delete as well if you haven't already.
Yes, I will do, yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
You've got like 10 at the start, don't you?
Yeah, they're going to go.
Well,
How many have we
I was
got?
hoping we'd have 2 blocks of 7.
We've got 2 rows now. We've got the row at 10 to 13 miles, and then we've got them at the 20 miles closing down over.
Oh, what
And
do you
here
know?
I can see a
So we can
a
see a
clear
difference. We can see a distinct difference.
mismatch, a distinct
Ruhif,
mismatch.
Ruhif, can you see that?
Yes.
Can you
I
see
can
that
see that.
curve? Why is it that in the imagery they match and these don't? There's a
No.
distinct difference between them. That seems to be absolute cast iron proof of what we're saying. The first one looks pretty flat. The second one looks distinctly more curved than the first because we have a comparison between the two. In the imagery,
There's a straight line.
Listen. Okay, the first set, if you take them individually, or as a set, sorry, is straight, right?
it doesn't
If you just look at
model
those first
like the
7.
picture, Ruhif. This doesn't match the
Say again?
picture.
Based on the resolution of the camera, they
Yeah,
can appear
right. So
straight.
there's those first 7 will have like 8 inches either side, and that'll be, virtually straight. So we'll call it straight, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
No, they're not straight. They fall away in line with perspective, Ruhif. So you're saying you're still in this orthographic world. I know your calculator ignores perspective, but they're definitely not straight. They're falling away in line with perspective. The point being that both of them do the same thing.
Yes.
And in this, we can see that the far one curves more than the near one because of the exponential nature of the curve build-up.
Yeah, listen. The first set, if you draw a line from the first turbine to the last turbine in that set, it will be very close to straight. Do you agree?
As in appearing, yes.
Yes. The second set, if you draw a line from the first turbine of that second set to the last turbine of the second set, will it be roughly straight?
Yeah, but they're different. There's a different angle between the two of them. You can see that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right, but there isn't in the picture, Ruhif. Why are you saying yeah? There isn't a difference in the photograph.
There is. Bring the photo up.
Anthony, can you bring the photo up? Hopefully he's not on the phone.
No, I'm here.
Yeah, bring the actual photo up with the lines going through the turbines.
They're dead straight. Dead straight.
Yeah, the lines are. Show me the picture. Bring it up.
What do you mean the
There you
picture?
go. Hang on one sec. No, you got it. All right, hang on.
The lines through the turbines are dead straight, not a little bit straight. They're dead
We're
straight.
not even on that angle
Yeah,
either.
listen,
If I
we've
was on
just-
that angle.
We've just agreed that
Let's
taken individually,
can we
each
keep that
set
picture
has a
up?
straight line.
Yeah, if you can bring up the angle so it relatively matches block for block, that'd be really handy.
Hang on, what we agreed was that they might appear to be straight.
Yeah.
We didn't say that they will be straight, and we are demonstrating that they are straight.
8 to 12 inches, right?
Here we go.
It's
Hold on,
nothing in the
Ruhif.
space of
He's
2
changing
miles.
the angle so it more closely matches.
What?
There you go.
Second.
Can you see the distinct difference between the two of them?
Now, as we're on a corner, I can see the curve here, and this, right, would not draw a straight line on this. And I'll show
Okay,
you
on
that.
Anthony's photo on the screen, the
That's
line
flat-
on the
well,
right.
okay, sorry, I'm jumping in, but that's flat Earth. You're looking at reality. This is what
So I'm
Nathan
looking
was
at
trying to
Anthony's
say.
screen at the moment.
And here we are looking now for the first time at your curving, and they don't line up straight. That isn't straight.
So
Yeah,
again,
they're not meant to. This is what I'm trying to get at
Hold
with
on.
Anthony.
What do you mean they're not meant to? In the picture, they are. This is just a model of a globe, and you can see that the ones in the near foreground curve a little bit, almost look straight. The ones in the background,
Yes.
however, look considerably different in their angle.
Yes, that
Well, they don't in the picture. They're the same. We've just got the effects of perspective. You haven't got the accumulation of a curve.
Can I get a sentence out, Nathan?
let him speak because it's late for him. Let him speak.
Thank you. It is late. I can't sleep anyway,
This,
so that's why I'm here.
yeah.
Right. So we just saw on the model that the first set of turbines has a pretty much straight line through it, and the second set has a straight line through it, right?
No, that's
On-
not what we saw. On the model,
Can
we
we
saw-
agree that 12 inches over 2 miles is straight?
Sorry,
No,
look at.
no,
Hold
we
on,
didn't
that's what's
agree
going
that.
wrong.
That wasn't what was
Ruhif,
agreed.
can you? Sorry, can you just click on the model? Click on block.
On what's his name? Yeah.
So he's now changed the viewing angle to more closely match what Anthony has. So he's got a different viewing angle now.
Yep.
Well, can you see that difference?
Yeah. Look at the first set, and we can draw a straight line.
This you could call
Sorry,
this,
the one on the closer one, the one on the right.
look at the angle of this line and look at the angle of this line.
Yeah,
These
really.
two will
That's
intersect.
exactly my point.
What, that they should look like they're different, but the picture doesn't match this, Ruhif?
I think the picture does not show parallel lines.
Hold on,
That-
let
they're
me
not
just
parallel.
hold on. Not
Them
parallel,
lines
as in hold on.
are actually
Hold on.
parallel.
Does Ruhif realise that these turbines are different sizes?
No.
Oh right. Did you know that, Ruhif?
Like, so different sizes in reality, so they're like different models of turbines.
Correct. Did you not know that?
Oh,
Oh
No, I
right.
didn't know that.
Oh well, you wouldn't have factored that in then. Were you looking for them to be exactly the same in terms of the exact same angle?
no, I'm saying if they're the same model of turbine.
Oh,
those
that's a
lines are
shame. They're not.
parallel.
They're not.
Why
Yeah,
not
they're not
pity.
really
them then?
different.
That's a pity.
Nathan, could I jump in?
Go ahead.
So how tall are the front ones?
You see these towers here, this angle, if I draw a straight line, right, imagine this is a 2D picture now, it is no longer a model, it is
Yeah,
being
but
taken.
this model's irrelevant now.
No, watch,
This
is being
model's
taken
irrelevant.
as a
No,
photo.
it's a
Look,
fair criticism, Ruhif. You
this
would
has
need to
been
make
taken
the
as a photo.
hold on, block for
Now,
block.
I drag
Just one
this
sec.
line, and
block
we
for
can
block.
see here.
Hold on. He's got a fair criticism. So I've pointed it out, and it's not modelled for. So the ones in the near foreground are, I think, let's have a look, 75 metres to the hub.
Yeah, he's got it in the video description. If you look in the
Yeah, I'm
video
just looking at it now. The 90 metres ones are the ones further away. So they're 90 metres in the background, 75 metres in the foreground. So we'd need to change the heights of these turbines.
Well, that's annoying.
Is that something you can do on the fly?
I can do, yep. As
Yeah.
in, all of them, they have no degree. We're not going over the 60 miles, so I can just tag all of these and drop them by the same singular ratio.
Well, the
as in
back
an
ones need
amount,
to
any amount.
increase. So I don't know what the ratio is of. I can't do that.
It's just the rate of how high you want one tower against another, I should say.
Okay.
Make
Ruhif, can
these
you do
ones
the
90% smaller, 10% smaller.
This is where I
it's
shouldn't have been so
5/6.
nasty to Ruhif, as I'm going to ask him to do some maths for me. 175,
5/6.
one's 90. What's the ratio difference?
83.33%.
There you go. 83.33.
So you want them dropped 13%.
No, 16.67.
16, dropped.
I'm not sure that it will make a difference.
Well, that was an objection. We're changing it. Let's see what happens.
I'm taking this
Yeah.
as 50% here. Look, you can see the height of the model. I'm taking this as 50%, 25%, and I'm going to drop these towers by this much. Does everyone agree?
Those are the near
that's
foreground ones, right?
50% in the middle, 25%, and I'm going here just slightly above the half of 25. I'm going to drop this height in all of these towers.
But are these the ones in the near foreground?
No, they're far.
Well, they need to be increased then. So the ones in the background are bigger than the ones in the foreground.
The ones in the background you want bigger than the foreground, yeah. So I'll
Correct.
drop these ones by that amount.
Precisely.
And it's just roughly that amount. I'm taking that 50%, 25, and roughly the 16 is this height will be buried.
While he's doing that, Anthony, can you make sure that those lines in the photo are not parallel?
I didn't understand what you just asked him, actually. Can you...
So there were two lines going through two sets of turbines in the photo. I'm saying they're not parallel.
Yeah, but that would be the case based on the fact that one's bigger than the other.
I need to think about that.
Okay, fair enough. You've only just heard this information, so that's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to match the angle again.
On a globe, they definitely wouldn't be parallel.
I'll just make the point though, that picture that's showing them two straight lines, no matter the height of the towers are obviously different, but we can clearly see the angle of the line against the angle of the other line is across the picture at the same angle. Now here, I cannot do that. I cannot take this line and have it horizontally or have it, perpendicular to this, parallel to this line. It cannot lie parallel. But on the photo, we can clearly see they are lying parallel.
No, I reckon they're not. This is what I asked Anthony.
Oh, no, but the mismatch, what I can show you here, will clearly see that you'll be seeing a triangle rather than two parallel lines. This line here, what you've got to see what I say, I drag it from there, it's going through all of the hubs like that. Can we see the high angle, what it takes?
Yep.
Yes, that's not parallel.
Correct. That's what we see in the photo.
Well, maybe Anthony can show that. I mean, I think that discrepancy is there on account of the fact that they're different sizes. But, you know, we can go around, we'll just go around in circles. You've not looked at this yet, Ruhif. So, I mean,
correct.
We can go around in circles.
Sorry,
if you want.
I had to mute there 1 second. Sorry, I missed the last 10 seconds of what you were saying from when I just dragged that line.
On a globe, just as you demonstrated, those lines should not be parallel.
Yep.
Definitely not in the photo.
Okay. And why are you telling me that?
Because you just showed that they're not parallel, and they're not parallel in the photo.
Okay. Yeah.
Your globe model matches the photo.
Right. I have a globe model now. Yes, we established this, and the photo. What I'm clearly demonstrating here now is these lines aren't going to tally up. This one,
correct.
Yes, but the ones on the photo are at the same angle. What I mean here, again,
they're not.
Yes, look at this. Watch. We will.
Anthony just drew a line. It's not parallel.
To be honest, I've got the screen. I've got it on screen now, and it's a pixel either way. It's really, really close.
Can we see this here? Can we see this dragging through that hole?
Hold on, we've got it on screen now. And
yeah, that's not parallel.
Well, it's not perfectly parallel, but they're different heights. So the ones in the background are a different size to the ones in the foreground.
I'm undecided whether that makes a difference yet.
Okay. But the discrepancy on this, in terms of how close they are compared to the model, there's a massive difference.
Do you agree there's a massive difference, Rue, do you agree there's a massive difference between the two?
Yeah, you're side on.
Yeah. But between the model and the picture, do you agree that there's a difference?
I mean, he's saying the angle's wrong. He's got the Goldemo defense at the moment. So you're saying the angle to this is wrong? It doesn't match closely enough? I'll just flick between them for the audience.
Are they shrinking height on the left?
No.
They're further around the curve, Ruhif.
What we got here is we've got an infinite horizon. Now look at the angle or the ratio of how much height there is there to how much height there is here. This is clearly indicating that there's a mismatch. There's an angle, a steeper angle here, and there is a shallower angle here. This is a shallower angle, meaning that the two lines separated would not be parallel.
Look at the set on the left.
They would almost be converged.
The set on the left doesn't look parallel to the surface that it's on, the black surface.
No, it's on a curve.
I can certainly prove that. This is the actual curving surface of the Earth, and it will match curvature calculation across every single point, and we can measure the height of the towers. I've just lowered some by 16%, but each tower is a perfectly same height and distance from the last. They are.
Can you go to the side? Can you go to the side on view for the rear set, the set at the back?
The set at the back, yep.
Yeah, so the view you had a minute ago, they just look like they were different heights.
No, they're all at different heights on the curve, but I haven't lowered these ones. Here we can see there's a black ring that surrounds the ring. These are on the floor. Yeah.
That's something we suspect Sly did, changed the heights of them. because when he went from orthographic to perspective view, it didn't change. They
That's what
stayed
Chris
the same.
Monk did. Chris Monk screwed it up pretty badly.
No. Well, you can take that up with Chris Monk if you like, but I'm saying that what I observed in Sly's model was that he seemed to not have any alteration when he flicked between the two views.
Yeah. And can I just say that when I asked him to flick between perspective, I actually said at the time they don't appear to have changed. Now, that didn't mean that I thought he'd faked it in some way, but they should have changed. So why didn't they? And I don't know the answer to why I didn't. That's why I didn't say that they should have done, because I might have been wrong, but they should have done. And I was right, and I should have asked that question. They didn't change when he flicked from orthographic to perspective. So that indicates that he's changed the size of the turbines to make it look flat.
I think it would be great, Anthony, if you guys learn to model it as well. So I know you said last night.
Would you accept it if I did?
I would probably ask for your source file. Like if it was a Blender file, I'd probably ask for it to check it.
Sure.
Do you trust this model?
Well, I'm sitting on my phone looking at a pretty tiny screen, so it's difficult.
I could assert that this model, the surface of the where these pylons are is 40 miles of curvature of Earth in all directions.
Yeah, like I'll tentatively accept the model you've got. I completely reject Chris Monk's. I'm shocked that he effed it up so bad.
Well, hang on a minute. I haven't even seen Chris Monk's one. So what have you seen? Are you on about the 11 miles one?
What was it? Yeah, it was in the first second of your hangout, of your simulcast.
In the first second?
The very first second, it showed Chris Monk's model, and it was crap.
That was a picture. That was a picture, wasn't it? Not the model. Right.
No, the model, Chris Monk's model.
Yeah, but that was the one that was done over the 9 to 11 miles one.
11 to 13, I think.
Yeah, 11 to 13. I'm not sure how that applies here, though, because we're talking about the one we've got on screen.
Yeah, we're talking about the comparison between these two and why we've got a much more severe curve in the far one, as you would expect, and as the calculator says, but we don't see it in the images.
I think we do. Those lines aren't parallel.
I'm just going to try and actually tilt my view to highlight something.
To be honest, Ruif,
yeah,
it's so close. We're down to pixels again because it can go either way with one pixel adjustment. Either way, you could argue it's now parallel, and then you could say it's not.
What's the gap between those two sets?
The gap is exactly 1/3 of a mile. That's 1,000.
No, sorry, the gap in the photo between the first set and the second set, and are they in a straight line together?
No, they're not in a continuous straight line together.
Okay.
And I don't know the gap.
Confuses things. Okay.
I don't know the gap. I'd have to get Ranty to work it out.
If actually a good thing for Ranty to do is to make a Google KML file with the locations of all.
Yeah, he's got that.
Turbines.
He has that.
All right. Can he put it somewhere?
He might do if you ask him.
Pretty please, Ranty. If you
he may not. It took him a while to make it. He may not. What he may say, do it yourself. But you can ask him, and I'm sure he may. Actually, you'd be better doing it yourself.
Is that really you, Chris? Hold on. Is that you, Chris?
Yeah. I'm here.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hello.
You can ask him.
Oh, how did you mess up the modelling so bad?
Sorry, what's that to me? Who's this Chris I'm on the model?
No, not you. Shush.
I didn't mess up the modeling. The original one I did was over a 13-mile stretch. It was just wasn't meant to.
But what's the horizon on a globe? 11 miles at what, 20 feet or something, was it?
The horizon on a globe at 20 what?
Hang on, let me bring up the curve cal.
It's about 2 miles.
It's about 4 miles at whatever it is.
Yeah, so how did you have turbines in front of the horizon? And how did you have the turbines curving into the horizon before you've even gone over the horizon?
The original model I did was a 13-mile stretch, and that was an old model I had done a long time ago. It wasn't meant to represent Ranty's picture.
I thought it was based on Ranty's. See, I didn't know what Chris knew or didn't know, and I didn't know whether Chris had spoke to Ranty or not. I just assumed that it was a comparison because it looked similar. But when somebody pointed out that there were more turbines in it, it then made me wonder whether Chris had modelled it on it at all. Because if he had modelled it, he got the number of turbines wrong. So then maybe he didn't model it on that. And it turns out that I was wrong with my position. I thought that he'd modelled it on Ranty's picture, and he hadn't.
Right. Okay. That makes more sense. So, Nathan, the one that you showed me of Chris Monk's was not an accurate comparison. Agreed?
Fair enough.
Agreed.
Thank you.
But it's irrelevant for the purpose of this discussion anyway.
Okay. If you say so.
Well, it's
it
on
is.
screen. We can see it.
So what's the conclusion, Ruhif? Is the conclusion that you... Well, what is your position now, Ruhif?
On the turbines on your screen right now,
Sure.
if they are the same size, which they're not, but if they are, those lines should not be parallel, and they're not. If they are different sized, I would have to have a think about it and probably draw it myself to figure it out properly as to whether that makes a difference or not.
Do you agree that they're not the same size?
Oh, he's agreed that already. He's just agreed that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically,
I think that's
we're
the
at
end
a
of that
position
for
where
now.
we don't know at the minute.
Until
I
he
don't
goes
have
away and analyses that.
data,
but
and I
like
can't
I say,
think
we can
about
only go around in circles now.
Yeah, I've got nothing to add, basically.
Fair enough.
I can talk about my video that I put up today. I spent most of the day making it, actually.
Go ahead, plug it.
I explain why we do the 7/6 in the Metabunk curve calculator.
What about the R bit?
No, as I said the other night, it's not meant to prove the radius. It's just meant to show why we extend the radius,
You
theoretically.
do know that we understand why you do the 7/6 bit, right?
Well, I'm not sure that you do, because I have a screenshot of a Skype conversation where you basically multiplied the radius by the refractive index.
No, you multiply the radius by 1/6. So, like, whatever the value of the radius is, divide it by 6 and then times by 7, right?
Yeah, but do you know why we do that?
Yeah, because on apparent radius, we apparently live on a sphere.
Yeah.
That's why he asked you if
And
you
a
had proof
fraction.
of the radius. That's kind of what this debate's about, Ruhif.
The point of the video was to show why we go straight to refracted hidden rather than geometric.
Oh, no, I understand. And just with regards to the claim that you just said that you saw a Skype conversation where I multiplied it by the refractive index, that's because the only variation from straight that light does is a minuscule amount, and therefore contrasting against this fiction that you guys worship called 7/6. So, yes, you guys are told 7/6, but if you follow Fermat's principle on the trajectory of light, it's not worth calculating for. It deviates a microscopic amount from straight. So you guys give it 7/6. We say that's bunkum, and we say that it's basically straight. In other words,
prove my video wrong. Prove 200 years of maths wrong.
Fermat's principle on the trajectory of light. Do you deny that?
No, but I don't think you know how to apply it.
So why would you then apply Snell's law when there's no change in medium over a terrestrial observation at the horizon?
There's a change in density.
There's no change in medium, though, is there? And that's where Snell's law applies.
No, Snell's law applies to a change in density.
No.
Regardless of whether it's the same kind of
No. Do we need to get the definition up?
Yes, please.
Well, we can play semantics if you want, Anthony.
No, we'll just have the definition.
Snell's law applies where there is a change in medium.
Bring it up. Get the definition up. There we go.
Yeah, and I'll Google another definition later that says that it's just a change in density.
No, it doesn't say that. Show me where it says a change in density allows Snell's law to apply.
Oh, I'll Google one later and show you.
No, I've put it on
now.
screen.
He did it in 10 seconds.
Yeah, I
just
know.
Google it. Not cherry pick after half an hour of research. Just do it in 10 seconds like he did and give us your backup for that assertion. Snell's law needs a change in medium. You know this. Why are you denying it?
Doesn't need a change in medium, just needs a change in density.
No, but it doesn't say change in density. It says a change in medium. Lol.
Just Google it.
Are you imagining those to be two different things, though? Isn't that?
Hold on. Got a slow connection, Ruhif. Took Anthony about 10 seconds.
And I didn't have to go looking for a cherry-picked definition either.
Take your time, Ruhif. Had about 30 seconds so
How did-
far. It took Anthony 10.
Don't those mean the same thing?
No, they don't mean the same thing.
Well, when you're changing the medium, isn't the medium
shut
the
up.
only change
Shut
going
up.
to be the
Let's just
density in
leave
that medium?
Ruhif to find his definition. Let's see how long it takes him.
Sorry, did someone mute me?
No, you're still not. You're not muted.
Who's unknown is unknown. Just joined, or is it me?
No, it's P Mars, I think.
It's me.
Hey P.
Hello.
Still waiting
Yeah, I
for
think
Ruhif.
that's a pretty semantical argument to say that.
We haven't got
doesn't
another
apply to
definition
change
yet.
in
We've just got
density.
one
That's not
definition.
semantic. It requires two medium change, a medium change between two different mediums, like air
that's-
and water.
You're being
Two
semantical.
liquids of similar. Yeah, there needs to be a change in medium, and there isn't.
Exactly. But what does the change in medium mean? What are you changing about the medium? What's the property that needs to change? It's
There
the
has to be a
density.
boundary.
Exactly.
I don't know.
If the density of the medium changes, there is a change in medium.
Yeah, where's the boundary though? Right?
What's the boundary?
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Where's your
Yeah.
boundary?
Sorry, still
It's
waiting for
semantic,
Ruhif's
it's
definition. Ruhif, you there?
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
Oh, do you mean? Oh, bloody hell. When I tried to look for it, I got on mute somehow. Did someone mute me, or did I somehow mute myself?
It's visual.
Yeah.
Just bring it with definition and show it on screen. Don't need to say anything.
Oh, I can't screen share on my phone, can I?
Read it then.
Oh, bloody hell. I've got to find one first.
That's the problem, isn't it?
I found one. It's pretty easy.
Go on then.
I just
Off you
googled
go,
it.
Pete.
Power people, sorry.
Go on
What
then.
does it say?
Let me share my screen.
Is it from a Metabunk site, or is it
No.
from somewhere credible?
It's from rpi.edu, Department of Physics.
Who? Say again.
Ah,
I
I
don't
don't
hear you.
know.
EDU means education, right? So let's hear it.
It says right here, Snell's law. The figure on the left shows light bending toward the normal as it enters the denser medium of water. Explain why light
Yeah,
bends in
medium.
this direction.
Can you
Right.
see that divide between the two, P Mars? That's the boundary between two mediums. We
It
don't
says
have
right here,
them, actually.
denser medium. So
Yeah.
if
Yes,
if-
between air and water, two different mediums. P.
point into a denser medium,
Yeah, but there's a boundary between the two, right? That allows you to calculate or measure the incident incidence.
a denser medium provides more matter from which light can scatter. So light
Correct.
will travel more slowly in a dense medium.
So what?
Slower. So
Yep.
it's saying that the density of the medium affects how
Yeah,
fast light travels.
Correct.
we're on a tangent.
So
that's
if
irrelevant. though.
the medium's density changes, then
Can you see the
that will
boundary between the two
apply-
layers?
You can apply Snell's law to it.
Can you
It's
see
pretty
the
simple.
boundary between the two layers, between the two mediums?
two
That's
things
what's
here,
required
Pete.
for Snell's law.
Two things.
It's
Air
not.
and water. Two mediums with a boundary. And it is the
Look,
change between the two.
But air isn't the same density, so there can be two mediums
Yeah, but
of
there's
air
no boundary.
with different densities.
Do we
the
know what the
boundary?
plural
That's
of
why it's
medium is?
Fermat's principle rather than Snell's law. Fermat's principle states that it does deviate from straight in all directions, but it's a minuscule amount.
Anthony, are you saying light travels the same speed in air no matter how dense the air is?
Just said that.
Patrick, no,
Did you not-
I'm
hold
saying
on,
light
hold on,
doesn't
hold on.
bend
Pete,
the way you guys
Pete,
tell us it
did
does.
you not listen to what he just said about
What?
Fermat? No?
I rarely
Yeah,
listen.
We
to
can
you
demonstrate
guys.
anyway. We can
Say
demonstrate.
it
you
again.
don't
Hold
need
on.
a
He didn't
change in, like,
listen,
air
but just
to
listen to what
water.
he says, P.
He's
What was the
making a
question?
semantical argument.
That's not a semantical argument.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Light,
It is, Anthony. Come
for
on.
light to bend subject to Snell's law, there needs to be a boundary between two different mediums. Okay.
The-
In the air, we have a non-homogeneous same medium. There are
That's not true.
There are
The
microscopic.
it's not the
Wait,
same
I'm not
medium if it's
finished.
different
Not
densities.
finished, PMARs. In
I don't
our
care.
atmosphere, we have a non-homogeneous same medium. Fermat's
You
principle
don't.
states
That's
that
incorrect.
Fermat's principle states that light travels and bends in all directions, but it's a microscopic amount. And do you know why it's only that little amount? Because there's no two mediums for it to go through. It's
Yeah, there is two
microscopic-
different densities though. It goes from 4
microscopic
psi
amount.
at 30,000 feet to about 11 psi. We're about a mile up. So
Sure,
about
but
14
are we doing
psi at sea
observations?
level.
Are we doing that?
These are different densities.
Are we doing observations over the altitude distance differential or not? No.
Well, I mean, it depends how high the sun
No,
is.
the answer is no.
The
We're doing
answer is no.
observations.
When you
No,
change
we're not.
when you change the density, you change the refractive index, and it's
Yeah,
beyond
but
the
it's
lambda point. It
microscopic.
causes.
That's why Fermat's principle is correct and Snell's law cannot be applied.
I don't know whether that's true.
No, you
Tumbleweed.
need a change in medium. So you need to have two different liquids that are of different densities, and there will be a boundary between the two. So you can get oil and water. They will settle on top of each other with the boundary between the two. The boundary gives you your angle of incidence and your angle of reflection, and that's why
There's
Snell's
going to be
law
totally
applies.
different densities.
Pardon? Say again.
So there's going to be totally different densities. If you
That's right,
imagine,
with a boundary.
yeah, you have to imagine it's a globe, and you have
With
to
a
imagine that
boundary.
the sun's setting. If that's what
With
you're, if that's what you're describing.
Where does it say boundary in the definition?
Yeah, it doesn't need a boundary. It's going
What-
from
what do you
zero,
mean?
basically at that point, all the way up, all the way through to 14 psi.
How do you?
Where
Where
does
does
it-
where does it say boundary? Can you show me where it says boundary in your
It says different mediums. There are two different mediums.
It's the fact that you can measure the angle going in and the angle of incidence coming out.
There are two different mediums.
You can measure that, and it's because of the boundary that gives you the ability to get the line.
What are those two different
The
mediums?
boundary.
Air and air?
No,
Air and
the type of
less-
air at sea level
Yeah.
with nitrogen and 14 psi, and the air and the higher atmosphere, which less oxygen.
Did you not just listen to what he said? We're not going up to that altitude to make these observations. There is no difference between it if you're going to claim that. It's still not a different medium, though.
Okay, Nathan. Oh my God, you're so dumb. So
No,
the
it's not dumb.
atmosphere.
It's not.
You guys-
It's not like we're saying that, look, obviously the pressure of the water goes up as you go down in the water. Therefore, you can count that as a different medium because the pressure's higher. No, that's nonsense. It's just water. That's the medium. The medium is water. The pressure increases as you go down, but that doesn't change that the medium is water. And the change between air and water is where Snell's law applies.
Yeah, there has to be a boundary because if you don't have a boundary, you can't measure your angle of incidence or angle of reflection. So you have to have the boundary to be able to apply it. No boundary, and if you get microscopic variations between two mediums that are like non-isotropic, then you have a microscopic variation that goes in any direction, not just down. It can go up or down, or left or right, and that's why we get distorted shimmering because all that is a continuation of the fluctuation of the
Nigger.
Well, either way, Pete's, he's
So
got a
the
good
Kerr effect
point.
too, right? So the Kerr effect does apply too, which changes the density local to a magnetic field. So that has to be accounted for in analysis magnetic field. So
It was just, anyways, yeah. Pete had a good point with what he was saying with the PSI because it is definitely different mediums. Even if you're talking about water, the difference between water and air at sea level, like a lake, is less of a difference than the top of Mount Everest and the sea level air.
Sure.
The densities are and the sea level.
Nobody's doing observations at the height of Mount Everest down to the water, right?
Yeah, if you're talking about the sun coming in, if you're talking about, it depends on what you're talking about. But you have to also remember the atmosphere, the horizon as you're looking forward, as you're looking straight ahead. You're also seeing part of the horizon as risen up. So it depends on the light that you're seeing is coming from a different densities for sure. I mean, absolutely, and it's a light that's coming behind this thing that you're going to be measuring.
yeah, and Anthony's correct too, right? There is a boundary condition created by a change in density caused by temperature gradients. It sets up in layers.
Nigger.
No need, P. No need.
That's a fair statement. That's a fair statement, Anthony. Correct. Like if you change the temperature of a medium, it sets up boundary conditions between the differential between the two temperatures. Extremes, right? You end up with guys and Fata Morgana and all kinds of fancy stuff.
Just make another point, Nathan.
Go ahead.
I go on.
If you can see on my screen now, I have an entirely different model. Now, there's something we can clearly remember of Soundly's. Towers dip over the curve, and he shows them dipping. Now, I'm going to assert to the globers that a tower is fully seen against the sky. Now, here, I'm going to zoom in and show you a woman standing half a mile away. This woman in the foreground is roughly like 50 foot from the camera. And when we zoom in, quite clearly now we can see a woman, she's half a mile away and she's head and shoulders above the horizon. Now this lines up with a globe theory only. And that 3 miles away, I'll just come out the house here, there is a woman that is neither stood behind the horizon nor in front of it, but is stood exactly on it. Now, saying that, that means that the path up to the horizon, this is the women, they are just illustrating a path walked. This means that on Earth, we must observe a person at half a mile to have dropped visually in less than, I know it's less than 1/8 inch of curve, but the visual drop to this physical horizon, which has to exist, is over a foot in half a mile. And if Soundly genuinely caught his towers tipping over that edge, then the logic tells you that a person should also tip over the edge. A person, I'm sure the globers will agree, is just a person, a small object. It's a small object. We can lower this and we can see that the horizon alters. Now it's not 3 miles, it's 2 miles away. I lower my view, now it's 1.5 miles away. I lower, you can see I'm inside the room still.
Right, you're
now,
getting the parallax on the horizon, right, Buck? That's what
sorry?
you're saying, right? You change the elevation of the observer and you notice the parallax at the horizon, right?
I'm just like trying to make a different point. It's something that sort of smashes the globe theory, is that this is a globe, just like the towers, and what we are seeing observational wise here is that there is a woman where we ascertain a height. We ascertain this woman's height, and then a woman the exact same size, when she walks half a mile away, in reality, she would be expected to be eye level still, whatever level we observe the horizon on. But here, a globe is telling us that it must drop over a foot for any object. Any object, any size.
That changes the interpretation of the video from, well, everyone that's been doing tabletop observations, because on a globe, it can't remain flat, can it? Which was their argument. Do you remember,
Right.
Nath?
If it's dropping, it's dropping away.
What happens behind the curve is good enough for globers. What happens before the curve is what I'm pointing out here now. This curve genuinely obscures things, genuinely obscures them, and we can genuinely see a path a woman would walk to it. The horizon, when I was there, was 3 miles. I raised my view, it's 3.5 miles, it's 4 miles, etc., etc., etc. So when we are at 3 miles, the human point of view, the horizon is said to be 3 miles roughly for a person at ground level. Well, this cameraman has just observed this woman walking, and the horizon should fall down her body as indicated here, because the true drop here, this will visually account for what curve calculators are saying is existing in reality. This model confirms it. If the stuff happens behind the horizon, the observation up to the horizon is true.
That's correct. Yeah, that's what I was trying to show earlier, was that if you're standing on the top of a ball and looking at a level line, everything is dropping away from you. So you would see, as the person approaches the horizon, like Block is showing, they would also drop relative to the horizon. Exactly like that.
And it is that drop that we don't see on any photographs, any real world photographs. At no point do I see, and I am claiming, right, I have no proof, but I will put it to the globers to provide me a picture with a person at half a mile distance, because all I can do is go off conjecture. I've checked photos, I have checked bridges, I have checked roads, I have checked everything for the slightest drop here, and things remain level. Now, to remain level, that horizon is 3 miles away. That is the edge. That means that somebody must be able to walk to my edge and start to be obscured after 3 miles. That means the point at 3 miles, they are fully visible against the sky. And here she's tiny, but I can assert she is fully visible against the sky. And
That's
this is
really,
a genuine curve. We can
really
obviously
cool.
her out
Are
the
you
side.
saying that over just 3 mile we should be able to see the effects of curvature?
Yeah.
I'm saying over half a mile, over 500 feet. This model, I have an animation where the woman walks away. She
Can we see
literally
that?
walks away, but
Can we see that?
over
Have you got
over
that animation?
500 feet, you can detect curvature if it was a globe. Now, what I mean here is I will place this woman 500 feet down here. I will copy her and I will place her 500 feet. She's going to be level right at the moment because I'm only moving her on the red axis when I get it. 500 feet. She will be perfectly level. We can see her head is matching level. I'll turn them lines off, sorry. With this grey line. You see this grey line, it's just tipping. Her head is perfectly in line. I'll zoom in. This grey line touches her head there, halfway there. And on this woman, it touches her head just halfway there. That's the flat earth, that's the theodolite line. Now, as I zoom back into this woman, I will lower her to the ground level. I moved her 500 feet and she's not actually fully on the ground. I will grab her and lower her the fractional amount. So now she's stood on the surface. And I'll come back to here. We can see she is eye level with this grass. And this woman that is 500 feet away is neck level.
But yeah, as she goes further away, she's showing more and more sky behind her as she gets further away on the globe.
So does that mean that when Sly was arguing that it will never be the case that the peephole on the house will ever get lower? Well, if we live on a sphere, then it must.
Yeah. It's going around a curve.
So why would Sly be arguing for a
was
flat
just-
Earth then?
He was describing a flat Earth. I was pretty sure.
Here, we can see this woman is 500 feet. Now, that is a drop. I would say eye level's there, her eye is there, and this is a drop of 2 inch. Would you agree? Just
Thereabouts.
that ratio of her face.
Yeah, give or take.
That's a 2 inch drop in 500 feet. The drop is the greatest. It quickly drops away. So within focus and distance of any camera, you will actively see the horizon dropping. Then it will go slow. It's like you're just seeing. The second a person will walk away from me, I would expect to see this on a ball, the dropping this rapidly. As quick as I am illustrating, then it gets slower and slower and slower until horizon is reached, and then the reverse effect happens.
Hold on, so by this standard, you should be able to get down to the ground and see somebody at a few hundred feet with their feet on the horizon.
Yes.
So just do this in the model, lower your camera position to the ground.
I'm going to have to put X-ray view.
That's all right. That's good enough for me. That's good enough for me. Halfway up her legs, so the horizon is now halfway up her legs. So in other words, if we're on a sphere, we should be able to drop in elevation with somebody, 500 feet away, and see them silhouette the horizon. Correct?
Yes. Yes.
We don't see that. That's absolutely not what we see. The horizon would rise with her. We would see the horizon at her eye level, would we not?
Yes, whatever level, the horizon will drop as I lower my view, it will drop. But what I'm saying is if I drop to this level now and she walks 500 feet, it will still be this level. It won't have altered.
Good.
And on a globe, it must.
So on a flat plane, wherever she is in terms of her horizon, she can get to a further distance and she'll always be that relationship with the horizon. On a sphere, it's dropping away. Therefore, she will get more and more close to the sky. She'll see more of her body against the back of the sky as she gets further away, if we're on a sphere.
Yes. I can animate it here. I have this animation watch. I'll show you the woman walking. It's going to go dark because I don't know what I'm doing with the shadows on this one. You see that woman moving?
This is flat plane, right?
This is still the globe. It's a globe curvature. Okay. But this is just to illustrate, you can visually see. You walk up to a woman, she's this height. You don't need to know her height. All you need to know that you're on a globe is as you watch her, she immediately falls against the horizon. The horizon falls against her body immediately. She was eye level almost, and now she's shoulder level. It immediately travels down the body and gets slower and slower until horizon is reached. And then the opposite happens. It begins to obscure the body, getting faster and faster. Here we can see it's neck level there, and as she walks again, immediately, these are 100-foot increments. The horizon drops. No matter what angle we place ourselves, no matter if I go now to try and find eye level, within 500 steps, she will have altered, and her eye level will now be above the horizon.
There's a question in chat. Roger MC says, what is the point? Do you want to make your point concisely for Roger because he can't see it?
What my point is that we are only seeing things behave level in Earth, and we are certain that the Earth is flat. As they are only remaining level, and here we are seeing direct proof that no straight line can remain level on a globe. The globe in itself debunks itself. You cannot have a straight line, and I can illustrate this now. Here, this woman, we cannot form any straight line on a globe. It is impossible, Roger.
So I hope that answers your question, Roger.
Absolutely impossible to form a straight line. And what we are seeing here, again, is a woman who is, she's eye level. We don't know her height. Do we really need to? No, because watch, we're on a globe. I'll just say that's eye level. She's there. And as she walks away, immediately the horizon falls at that same increasing rate and gets slower and slower and slower. Now, to be fair, the horizon isn't 3 miles away because I've just moved myself up the model. But if I come back to the beginning, now it most certainly is. And we can take any viewing elevation and watch her walk. The horizon is level with the hammer. Now, in 500 steps, it should be this level. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it is 6 there. It's whatever level you can line up. We have the horizon, the hammer with the horizon, and 500 steps. 1, 2. Immediately, it's gone above. Immediately, we can see curvature. If we genuinely lived on a pear, people, you would know it. We have all been shafted.
And with that, I think I'll say first and foremost a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of the debating panel for making this debate possible. And of course, a massive thank you for all of the live audience tuning in and hopefully sharing the show. If you hated the show, you know exactly what to do, but if you liked the show, maybe consider sharing it with a friend or subscribing if you have not done so already. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!